Yo, what is good, guys? Nikademis here. Today I'm going to be walking you through briefly some of the work I did for Next to You with Nal and Josh Rubin. So here's the original demo that I had worked on. Yeah, a lot of the stuff in the verse here I had used in another song of mine, so I let Nal know that I definitely wanted to change a lot of it out. Alright, so let's jump right into the builds here. I'm just going to go layer by layer here. So it has some chords. More chords. These are some silent patches, super saws. I used to like to duplicate these side chains a lot to give it a real bouncy feel. I don't really use this technique much anymore. I like to just send everything to Shaper Box and trigger it using that. And these are some serum chords, just a bunch of different patches. Then I've got some air, which I actually use a patch and massive for that, the white noise. And this is a pretty signature move of mine, is to create these like vocal synths. I like to use the ad-libs from the Kara vocal pack, put it through a little alter boy on the robot setting, and then I just automate the pitch to create like a sense of melody. And then I rewired it, rather bounced it out to audio, did some more processing on it, bit of reverb, bit of mid-side control, and you get this. Since I put like distortion on it, it can get a little harsh, so I just kind of wash it out with some very quick reverb. And then I also add a little bit of reverb tail. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll just send this full wet with the reverb, bounce it out, and then chop up the reverb in these little areas in between. That way it gives us a nice clean effect and it's not interfering with the main melody of the vocal chop at all. And then one of the really important pieces of the track, we've got the strum. Alright, so I'm going to give this away here. It's done with the Ilya Efimov nylon guitar contacts library. This is a recommendation that I learned from Kashmir a while ago. Was lucky enough to attend a masterclass of his many years ago by random chance. And what you can do is create your own patterns. It's basically got its own step sequencer in here with all these different articulations. So muted sounds, slides up and down, etc. Then I've got some high-end saturation, compression. Throw on the Maserati GTI, gives it a lot of brightness that really lets it cut through the mix, in my opinion. Tame that low ends, or rather get rid of a lot of low ends with the EQ. A little compression, some more multi-band saturation here. Pro G is to help, sometimes these plugins can create noise, so Pro G keeps things silent when the sound is not playing. A little mid-side control. Then got the classic Nikademis top bass, mid bass, whatever you want to call it. Got your sub. And then you got your drums. Nothing crazy going on here. Got a few artist samples here. I love the AU5 snares, Tynan. I did these like reverse kick things. We ended up taking a lot of these out because it was just way too much. And then you just bring it all together. So you can hear the groove that I had was definitely a bit different from what the final came out to be. We just decided that the groove didn't have like necessarily the bounce that we wanted, so we ended up changing that a bit. And you can see I was using Good Things Fall Apart as a reference vocal. Actually, a couple of different reference vocals here. I like to use acapellas from other tracks I enjoy, other vocals that I really like to help me build an instrumental, and this was before we had the vocal from Josh. Then obviously Josh came along and just fucking crushed it. Absolutely amazing vocal. Now the hard drop I actually did in a different project, so I'm going to bounce over to that real quick. Let me walk you through all the sounds here. Layer 1. So that's my typical mid bass, 2 layers of serum. One's a little more gritty than this one. It just has a little bit more harmonic to it. This is a patch in Omnisphere that I like to use a lot. Then these are the initial kind of wub fills. Then in this kind of second phrase here, this is all serum. Got some rising patches here. Big fan of the excellent sound packs. Have some really, really nice starter sounds to get going with and tweak to your liking. And then something else I want to point out is I use this crowd sound effect to really open things up. Just makes things sound bigger, for lack of a better term. A lot of different glitch sounds that pop in and out here. A bit more white noise following the mid bass sounds, give it a little high end, and then I did throw the vocal chop in intermittently also with the mid bass. Just bit crush it a little bit, makes it a little bit more dark to kind of fit the feel of the drop. There's a lot of stuff in here that's not being used because it's just ideas that I went back and forth with. Null and I ended up touching up this drop a bit, added in some other more melodic elements from the first drop. Yeah, that's about it. Exported the stems, sent them over to Null, and then we continued to work back and forth on it. And I'm really, really happy with how this one evolved and came to life. It's really, really nice to see the awesome response that it's gotten. So yeah, that's a bit of how my process went for working on this one.